Hi everyone, how you doing? How's it going today? I have a 3-day training today. So what I want to tell you guys is if any of you want to come, I'm going to invite you. I have a 3-day training for 5 hours. It's from 8:30 to 1:30 today and tomorrow, and it's from 7 to 11 Friday. So if any of you want to come, you're more than welcome. If you come, I'd like you to go to the entire thing. Otherwise, we're going to have another one you can go to, but I just wanted to put that out there. I should have told you sooner than right now, but
What's the training on though?
it's all about real estate and the 8 phases of the sales cycle and how as an agent you can make sure that you manage every phase of the sales cycle so that you crush it.
I
So it's
love it.
all real estate stuff.
And by the way, guys, we realize there's a lot of training, and we know you have to sell houses sometime. This is
Yes.
just because this is the phase of the year where people are like, I want more stuff to get set up for next year. So if this is the time of year where like I'm all in, cancel what you're doing this morning, go jump on the training. You got houses to sell, go sell houses. Whatever's going to serve
Exactly.
you, that's what it is. I love it, Krista.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting people.
All right, everyone. We're going to talk about a lead magnet. So basically, what I want to talk to you about with a lead magnet is something that you give somebody something of value in order to get their information back from them. Okay. The idea behind lead magnets is that you want to be able to own people's information. All right. So, unless you're buying leads from like Zillow or from other lead sources, sometimes generating leads can be difficult. So when you offer somebody something of value, then they're more likely to give you the information. But I want to talk to you not just about lead magnets, but about the strategy behind a lead magnet. Okay. And the strategy is going to be the same thing I talk about all the time. And that is basically have the serve, not sell mentality. All right. Serve, not sell mentality, number one. And number two, you have to date your audience before you get married, so to speak. So in other words, whenever you meet somebody, then you at a party or you meet them at a, through a friend and you just think they're super cute and you want to hook up with them, you don't just go up to them and say, let's get married. You date them for a while, right? You text and then you start phone calling, you video chat, you go to breakfast, you go to lunch, you start hugging, you hold hands, you kiss, you get engaged, you get married, and then bam, right? All the good stuff happens. So the point is that I want you to understand that you want to date your audience before you ever ask anybody for anything. They're much more likely to give you what you want. Like you're much more likely to give you their information when they've developed a relationship with you. Okay. So one of the things that most people do is they'll just throw something out there and expect for people to want to download it or give them their information. But I want you to think about yourself and how you feel when somebody is asking for your information, right? If somebody wants you to give you their name and your phone number and your email address, you're like, hold on a second, who are you? I don't know you. Are you going to spam me? Are you going to sell my information? What are you going to do with it? Unless you feel very comfortable and very safe. Correct? Have you guys ever experienced that? Okay. Also, with lead magnets, research shows when I first started coaching 3 years ago, the average time that it would take for someone before they would actually click on your ad or click on your lead magnet would be about 12 touches. They would need to have been exposed to you about 12 times. That is almost tripled. So in 3 years, that number is almost tripled according to recent research. And the reason being is because people are bombarded constantly with stuff, with advertisements, right? They're just constantly being bombarded and they're getting more and more weary to give people their information. Okay. So we want you to date and flirt before you actually, get married and get engaged. So that's how I want you to think about your content. So what does that look like? That looks like creating content, serving, not selling, giving value, right? Giving as much value as possible, just helping people with their life, tips, tricks, hacks. And remember, everything does not have to be real estate related. It does not always have to be real estate. Okay. You can, like, for example, let's just say you are you're a great barbecuer and you've got, this great barbecue recipe, or you've got tips on how to make tricks on how to make your meat taste super, super, flavorful. You could start creating content regarding that because you're developing a relationship with your community. They're getting to know you. They're getting to like you. They're getting to trust you. You're breaking down their barriers and you're developing a relationship with them. Okay. Even though you don't know them, the more content that you produce, the more people will start to develop a one-sided relationship with you. It's called a parasocial relationship. Okay. Since since as young people, we were always exposed to the boob tube and television, our brains have been programmed to see somebody on the other side of a television screen or a phone or a computer or, a video of them. And we start to see them as somebody of authority. Okay. Think about the television shows that you watch. You start to develop a relationship with the characters, right? You'll cry for them, you'll laugh with them, you'll cheer for them. You feel like you know them. I mean, I was bawling watching The Kingdom the other day, like just could not believe they killed the young son. I was just like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so sorry, I'm crying because I really like this kid, right? It's the exact same thing with you. So the more somebody develops a relationship with you and feels like they know you, when you ask them for their information, they're going to be more likely to convert. And it's really, really funny because I've got Paula Quinn on here and Kim Renshaw, and I'm going to be showing an example of this in action. Okay. So let's just say that you want sellers. Right now, everybody wants sellers. All right. So let me give you an example of some good lead magnets that you might want to give. Now, so for example, I'll show you one here. Share my screen. This is one that we just made for, and this is real estate related, but again, they don't always have to be real estate related. This is an example, 5 tips to winterizing your home, like tells them what to do on their home. Okay. This is an example of a lead magnet that somebody could download, right? You could run an ad saying, hey, if you'd like 5 tips to winterizing your home, give me your contact information. But what I want you to understand is that you would not do that first. Okay. That would not be your first step. Your first step would not be sending out a lead magnet first. Your first step would be developing a relationship and making sure that you're targeting the right people. All right. The more that your content speaks directly to somebody, meaning the more that your content, so think about this. So when you're online and you see something that interests you, okay, for example, let's just say you love the 49ers and you see this great thing about the 49ers and you're going to click on it, right? I don't like football. I would never click on the 49ers. So that content, that messaging, those videos, those topics would not interest me. But if you are watching a video about the 49ers, most likely you're a 49er fan and you're interested in football, right? So that's what I want you to start understanding, that with people, when they're engaging with you and when you're creating lead magnets, the idea is to make sure that they're interested before they click, right? So what you would do is you would start, I'm going to show you an example of this. I just got to find it. I had it earlier and somehow I just lost it. So let me give you an example. If you want sellers, okay, that would be a lead magnet, but you wouldn't start with that lead magnet. What you would start with is, I have a pretty little thing to show you, and it might look a little confusing, but it's not. But I want you to start thinking about business and how you're reaching people differently than what you're used to, okay? Especially now that, where did it go? Especially now that we have to be online so much more, okay? So let me give you an example. I'm going to show you. Okay, here we go. Perfect. All right. So this is what this would look like. So let's just say you're going after sellers and you want to have more listings, because right now, as we all know, it is a complete seller's market and there's no listings. All right. So what you would do is you would start creating content. Okay. Share. You would start creating content for people to get to know you, like you, and trust you. So you would start creating videos around selling. All right. And that is top of funnel. As people started to watch the videos on selling, then you would continue to send more videos regarding selling. So it looks something like this. Okay. 3 must when selling your home faster and for more money. Now, I would say that is not like the best hook. You always want to have a really good hook whenever you're creating content. A hook means how I want my languaging, I want my written words, my copy to really grab somebody's attention. Okay. And then everyone that watched that video, you would then send another video to 4 essential tips when selling your home faster and for more money. Then what you would do is you could have them click to get a market analysis. Okay. Getting the market analysis, that is a lead magnet. You're saying, hey, if you give me your information, I'm going to give you a market analysis of your home. Or at this point, you could say, hey, download my book on what to expect when selling your Deer Ridge and Shadow Lakes home. I would not start here. Okay. I would end here, right? Because you want to develop a relationship with people, you want to make sure that you're not just marketing to the entire world, you're marketing to people that actually could have interest in actually downloading your book. And you know that because they've watched other videos similar to selling. Does that make sense? Now, it doesn't mean that you can't just blast this. Like I've blasted this out there, right? And I've done ads just specifically to, hey, thinking about selling, this is a great book, blah, blah, blah. But my point is that I can do that because people see me all over my Facebook and all over, social media sites all the time because I'm purposely doing that, right? You're going to have a much higher success rate of somebody downloading a lead magnet once you've developed a relationship with them. So here's kind of what happens when you do that correctly. So here's Kim, had 3 CMA requests this week, 2 2-step and 1 1-step. And then we've got Paula. It does come. I'm almost overwhelmed with the CMA request and the follow-ups, not complaining. Here's Kim, got another 2-step. That makes 4 this week. Here is Erica. So just received my 4th CMA request. That makes 2 2-steps and 1 1-step. What that means is that people are asking them, they're downloading a form. A 2-step means they're giving them their name, their phone number, their email address. They're giving them everything, right? Their address. Though that is how you know that those sellers are very, very serious. If somebody's willing to give you all their information, they're giving you all their information because they're like serious about selling, right? And they're much more likely to give you all their information after you've brought them down your funnel, after they've seen other videos, other interests. So you start targeting people, okay? Now, once I target people and they've seen all my videos, I can then retarget people to just a straight lead magnet, right? And then what happens is because they already know me, so now they're in a different audience pool that shows that that they have interest in selling, right? Now, you can do this with anything. You can do it with buyers, with credit repair. You can do it with your niche within a certain neighborhood. The more, and notice these books, okay? So this one says what to expect when selling your Deer Ridge and Shadow Lakes home. This one says what to expect when selling your home. I have another one that says what to expect when selling your East County home. It's the exact same book. The difference is that I changed the title so that my content, the copy, speaks directly to somebody. Okay. Somebody that's living in Deer Ridge and Shadow Lakes is going to be like, oh my gosh, I live in Deer Ridge and Shadow Lakes. That's a book specifically written about Deer Ridge and Shadow Lakes. I want to read that. Okay. But again, they're much more likely to give you their information. They're much more likely to answer the phone with you. They're much more likely to want to talk to you and not sound so surprised when you call when they know who you are. Okay. Does that make sense? I can't tell you that when you do this long enough, when you start to call people, they're like, oh my gosh, you're Krista, like the Krista. Oh gosh, how you doing? They're like excited to talk to you because it's like this little weird kind of weird celebrity status thing that starts happening to you locally because they see your content all the time. Okay. And I mean, it really, really does happen. So what most marketers do is they start with this before ever developing a relationship with people. All right. Much lower conversions, and it costs a lot more to actually get that lead when you start with that. This is bottom of the funnel, not top. Make sense, everybody? Okay. So what are other kind of lead? What should a lead magnet not be? A lead magnet should not be, hey, I'm so great, hire me. Number 1 realtor, like the other 50 in my same city that says the exact same thing. That's not a good lead magnet. A lead magnet, you offer value in exchange for somebody's contact information. Okay, you offer value. You start with serve, give them information. Okay, not selling. So let me see if I can find, oh, you just scared me. I think she's downstairs, baby.
Dude, what did we say? We can't leave her.
No, she's locked up. She's locked up. Yeah. Okay. Now I can show you some examples of the type of ads that will run like once we actually, once I get to that point. So here's an example of a type of ad that I would run, right? And you can see here that we reached 3,400 people and we had 428 people click on this ad. Okay. Here's another one. And again, this is not the top of funnel, it's bottom of funnel. Here's another way. We reached 6,500 people and we had 294 people click. All right. When people are clicking, that's when they're giving me their information. Now, when it says it's a 2-step, okay, that's when we go through that whole process. Didn't I show you guys the selling process, like what I drop off and all that a couple weeks ago? I did that, right? Yeah. Right. Yes. Okay. That's when I would start with the video, giving them the video, really going over the CMA and taking it to the next step. All right. Let's talk about other things that lead magnets can be. Lead magnets can be buyer's guides. They can be seller's guides. They can be recipes. They can be school scores. They can be things to do in the neighborhood. They can be best, places to take your honey on Valentine's Day. They can be the top 10 happy hour spots, right? They can be things to do during the coronavirus with your kids that aren't, that are safe. I mean, you name it. Think about what people want, how you can help them. All of those things I just talked about, which are lead magnets, also are great video ideas. Okay. They're also great video ideas. They're not just lead magnets, so they're great video ideas that then can lead into a lead magnet. Does that make sense, everybody? So with your lead magnets, you want to create things that isn't always just real estate. All right. Because you want people to start to want to click. Not everyone's always interested in real estate. And remember that when you get somebody's information and once somebody clicks, then if you're marketing on Facebook, they will organically also expose your information to them for the next 365 days every time they interact. Okay. So now you get more organic reach and you also get more paid reach as well. Make sense? All right. So I really want you to do your best to start, we need to change our mindset as much as possible regarding how we are marketing to people. Okay. The way that real estate agents have been taught to market, not only is completely outdated, but you can't even do it right now. You can't do the things that you used to do as a real estate agent. You can't hold a buyer or seller seminar in person. You can virtually, right? You can't do an open house. You can virtually. You can't go door knocking because people aren't going to let you in, right? You can cold call, but who likes doing that? Okay. There's much more organic ways to do it. And the thing is once you stop doing this or you stop doing this, what happens is that your business stops. So I want you to start thinking about ways that you can remember your content is doing more selling for you than ever before. So I want you to start thinking about ways, how do I make sure that I expose myself consistently to people so I can make a connection, so I can convert more buyers and sellers? Let me ask you a question. How many of you, we've been doing this, how long now, Jesse? Like 2 months, 3 months, probably. How many of you feel like you know me a little bit better now than maybe you did 8 weeks ago, right? Okay. You do, all your hands are up, right? You guys know me. You're seeing me on the other side of the video. All I'm doing right now is adding value and I'm serving. And because of what I'm doing, I've had some of you join my program. Yeah, my higher level program. I haven't asked for anything from you, right? Like Ken's raising his hand. I haven't asked for anything from you, but I'm giving you value. You're seeing me as the authority figure in real estate and in digital marketing. You realize you want more, so you're taking further action. That's exactly what the process that you are bringing your people through locally in your community. Does that make sense? You're giving value, you're serving, they're developing a relationship with you. Right? Maybe 8 weeks ago, you thought, man, she's just a cute girl. She doesn't have any brains. But then you're like, well, she's actually smart too. Okay. And she's funny. I like her. Right? That's the whole, or not. Or you're like, yeah, she drives me crazy. I'm not going to that Wednesday call anymore. Either, Jess was shaking his head. Either one of those is totally fine. Right? The idea is that when you start creating content and giving people useful information and serving and not selling, you attract people that are like-minded that want to work with you, and you detract the ones that don't. Make sense? Okay, we've got 20 minutes now, and now is questions time. Because I really want you to understand, being interactive is a huge part of learning, right? Being interactive. Yes.
You say your book, you send out the pages, like the content is exactly the same. The only difference is the cover.
Yep.
That's what you said? That's cool.
Yeah. And we're also doing one, this was written by a New York Times bestselling editor and myself. So this book is not like you can buy books like this online where they're kind of cheesy, but I would never put my name on one of those books because they're just like, the traditional kind. This is really all about digital marketing and, utilizing social media and video and engagements and all that. But we're also doing one like that with divorce, right? So we're going to do the same book. We're going to add a few chapters in divorce on it. I'm meeting with my editor to help me with that. And she's meeting with a couple divorce specialists. And then we're going to continue to do this like with, probate and different types of ones. We're just going to do one book at a time. So then my niche, could be going after people that are going through divorce, because 50% of people divorce and most people that are divorcing have a house. So the odds of, doing that is pretty good. Then we can also target attorneys and lawyers and counselors and all those different types of things. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Krista, I have a question about your book.
Yes.
You said that you changed only the cover, but there's so many, like down in Texas, we have so many different neighborhoods that have different things with them. Like one, Spring Trails has this weird transfer fee with their HOA, or we have another neighborhood that, you know, is on septic and well and not restricted. Like there's just different information to know about each neighborhood. So when you're, do you change a or add a chapter or anything for specific neighborhoods?
That would be really hard if you would do. What I would say is make it more general, and it talks about that in here, like disclosures and neighborhoods and how things are different. So there's a section in that so that it's very specific, but not, if that makes sense. So you touch on the overall topic, but you don't say, oh, in this neighborhood, when you get there, it's like these are the questions that you should ask, right? Let me show you guys.
Okay.
Does it make sense? So it's kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a good example of that. To give you, here's an example. So let me show you something else. Whoa, my thing sometimes gets a little bit weird. So I had it up too. More questions. So I'm gonna speak directly to what you just talked about. Okay, so you can see what I mean. I'll give you an example of it that will kind of, I think, make it easier for you to understand. Okay. All right, so here's a good example of, first of all, everything you see here, you can make a video on any of these topics, okay? And so like this is an example of something that we send prior to showing up to an appointment. Now, notice that it talks about disclosures, what to disclose, timelines, HOAs, mold, pool, title, escrow, utilities, but it doesn't talk specifically in each, every city is different, right? Like what you disclose in is different, type of home is different. There's so many different disclosures, is like a lot can go there. This is kind of meant to sort of confuse somebody, if that makes sense. So, and these are the type of topics too that you would have if you were writing in the book, like our titles are. And also, just so that you understand, each one of these chapters in here could be a lead magnet, right? Like each and every single one of the chapters could be a lead magnet in that book. Okay. That's a great example of a lead magnet. But you don't have to be so specific, but you want the title to speak to somebody's name, right? Like it'd be like selling when divorcing, how to keep your kids, how to keep from killing each other or something like that, right? Or selling with divorce, how to divorce friendly when selling.
Okay. Do you keep it at all related to real estate, or this sounds like topics completely off of the real estate as a business?
What do you mean, Ken?
Well, how to keep your kids from killing each other during COVID. Well, that doesn't really relate to real estate. So you're just getting your face out there so that there's anything they're interested in initially at the top of the funnel, and then you pull it into a real estate related topic, like how to increase the value of your house by $1,000 for less than $100 in one weekend.
Yes, absolutely. So you can do both. You can start with real estate content. But you should always mix in real estate and non-real estate, because everyone's not always wanting or ready to sell. So if they're not ready to sell, they're not going to click, right? They're not going to give you their information. Your job is to get people's information off of these platforms and onto your own, because you don't own the contact information on Facebook. If Facebook goes away, everything goes away. You don't own, the leads on Instagram or LinkedIn, right? But if you can get their contact information by offering something of value, what happens when you do that is that now you've given them something of value. Now you have their contact information. You don't own those platforms, but you own your list. Okay. And remember, every single lead that you have, it's just a matter of when they're, not if, but when they're going to become a buyer or seller, or when they know somebody who's going to be becoming a buyer or seller. So now when they start getting information from you, then they see you at other times and it clicks. Oh, they're in real estate too, right? They're in real estate. Especially like if you're niching if you're going after a certain specific type of niche, you want to create a lot of content around that niche, right? To offer a lot of value. So for example, if you were wanted to be a divorce specialist, right? So I got my divorce specialist certifications, specifically because of COVID. Okay. Knowing that there's probably going to be more divorces because people are home more and they're fighting and all that good stuff. So creating content around divorce with just giving useful tips and tricks, and then adding something small at the end about being in real estate, right? For any real estate buying or selling you need, just feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Giving them, go ahead.
Is the top, okay, so the top of the funnel of videos, is that a constant stream of stuff that you put out, or is there like a certain series that you put out and then replay it later on, or how's that?
We're constantly putting out just tons of content all the time, because remember, you never know if somebody's cold, warm, or hot. You never know what phase of the funnel they're going into. You don't know if they're thinking about selling, if they're comparing or contrasting, they're ready to make a decision, if they have no idea they even can buy or sell or even want to, right? So you've got to make sure that you're constantly putting out different types of content, and then you're targeting based upon who's watching or who's clicking. So if somebody's watching videos specifically on credit repair, they're probably a buyer, and they need, they're not, so then you give them more information on credit repair. Does that make sense? But then you still do top of funnel type of content, because you want to commit to consistently producing content correctly, so you can make a connection and convert more buyers and sellers, right? And then you're reaching everybody. Make sense? So it's like reaching everyone, bringing them down. Going deep, and then going wide, and then kind of changing the strategy all the time. Sometimes you want everyone to see you. Sometimes you want specific people to see you. Okay. You were there when I did that. Did I do it with you guys? I get confused when I teach sometimes, but did I do that thing where we talked about cold, warm, and hot, and the type of content? I don't think I did it with this group. I can do that with this group. It'll probably be a good training to do. Talking about different types of content to create based upon cold, warm, or hot leads.
No.
Hi, Krista.
Hi,
Chris. I have a question. So with putting out real estate related content, whether it's generic, like a guide for the community on dating, you're very limited in terms of targeting. So what do you do? Like it's strictly, geographic, because it's real estate with the laws and regulations.
So, but that's not the case when you don't have to do the special ads category when you're doing something about dating and the community, right? It's not a special ad. Yeah, it's not a special ad category. So if you're not talking real estate, you can reach the masses.
Wow. And my other question is, how do you know who's watching?
So when you create ads on Facebook, when you're creating ads on Facebook, that's why you don't ever just want to boost, because boosting does not do anywhere near what it can when you actually create ads through your ads manager account. You can actually see who's watching. You can see how much they're watching. You can see who's watched the entire video. Right? It's called through play. And it's like, if somebody's watching an entire video on credit repair or on selling or on buying, they're probably thinking about selling, buying, or they need to fix their credit, right? Then you continue to target. That's why when I showed you Paul and Kim, how they were able to get, someone to say, hey, what's my home worth? Because they started with content related to selling, right? So it's content about selling. And then after they do the what's my home worth ad, then now they're sending like testimonial type videos, and then they're sending more information like market updates to position themselves as the expert. It doesn't just stop there. So when you target properly through Facebook, you can see exactly who's watching, and you can target, you can create lookalike audiences, you can retarget. Okay. That's what's so powerful about marketing digitally online. Or you can do an open house.
In order to get results that you can work with, what would you say is an effective budget to begin to distribute your content?
So I like to do, and I have to go like really quickly here, but I like to do every video that I produce, I do a $200 budget at least on it, but it depends upon how, I ask people, how many people do you want to reach? How quickly do you want to make an impact? Right? The more money you spend, the more quickly you're going to make an impact, the bigger your reach is going to be. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it, but spending like $1 or $2 a day is not going to get you anywhere. All right, everyone. Good job. Okay. Sorry, I got to go, but I have training right now. So I need to go, but good job. I want you to start retraining your thinking regarding marketing. Okay. We need to start thinking like more digital. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, Krista.
Thanks, Krista.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hey there. I have a brand new podcast called Fired Up with Krista Mashore, where I bring my high energy right to your ears. This podcast is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. So do me a favor, go subscribe and leave a review. All this information is free, and I cannot wait to teach you everything I know. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.